All right, here we are for our next session of the Rich Life Projects, and I'm very excited being a Queensland supporter, having the good Robbie O'Davis in the booth. How are you, champion?
Mate, I'm great, but you got to understand I was born in New South Wales at the same time.
I know that. Shh.
Okay, we'll get there later.
Shh. Well, born in 72, but we'll just say, yes, we're born, we're a Queenslander, mate. We're a Queenslander.
Yeah, definitely.
So you were actually born in Currajong, I think it was.
Yeah. Just outside of Penrith?
Outside of Penrith. Then you grew up in Toowoomba.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got that one sorted first. What has been happening in the life at present after football? What's been the big Robbie O's post-rugby league career? What's been doing, my friend?
Well, my lead up to rugby league would sit here for 3 weeks. Rugby league would sit here for
I'm saying at
3
present,
years.
mate, we're going to go back to that.
And then after league, mate, I could sit here for 2 minutes. Honestly, lost me way. I was one of them kids that's taken out of school at a young age and taken away to play football. And I suppose you can say uneducated, but you learn more, walking the streets than you do out of school. And then, mate, what haven't I done? I've dug holes, I've dug up the whole NBN system. I'm a care worker. I've looked after full disability. I've wiped the bums of full-grown men.
Hey.
But you have to do it. I've
been there. I've been there.
So that's your bum.
Yeah.
Real estate. I've done debt collecting at one stage. That was a good one. So they sent me to get some money off Hollywood Bennett one day.
Oh, no.
And I just come back and give $200 to the bloke. It was only $200.
Yeah.
Give $200 to the bloke. He goes, "You got the money off him?" I said, yeah, I got the money off him.
Mate.
I just paid that $200. I wasn't going to spam his front door. And I rang Betty and said, "Hand me 5 cartons of beer." And I said, "Why?" I said, it was back when they used to be 30 cartons, 30 cents.
Yeah.
And I said, "I'll tell you why." And he goes, "Oh, thanks, Bish. I'll pay you back later."
That
was my first assignment, actually.
Really?
And then what else? I'd done a bit of concrete and done a bit of, mate, what haven't I done? I sold slush puppy. That was a grouse job.
Was it?
But being such a fit person, selling sugar to kids. So, I wasn't a fan of selling sugar to kids. I remember going to this one school and, the lady said to me, you know how much sugar's in these? And I said, well, we do, but it's supposed to be less in these ones we give to the school students. And she goes, well, someone like you, and pretty much give me a mouthful, shouldn't be promoting this sort of stuff to kids and all that sort of stuff. And I got a little bit down, I drove out, and then all of a sudden I looked up this massive big sign, and it was me, and it said, Bet Easy, and I was actually promoting Bet Easy, the betting company.
Oh, okay.
And I just thought, I'm giving sugar to kids, promoting betting, and like, what's going to be our next Winnie Red commercial? Yeah, so
wow.
I've done a bit of everything, but about 2 years ago, a mob called Goanna, which is an Aboriginal employment, came and said, let's drive Winnebagos up the coast and get a little bit of Aboriginal employment up through Moree, Toomala, all that sort of stuff. And mate, went up there and had a bit of a look at the idea. Mate, the brothers, they're happy. They don't want to be working up there. Yeah, they're happy just walking the street. So just after that, the COVID hit. We were supposed to drive like a Winnebago and set up all this sort of stuff. COVID hit, we couldn't do that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I come back and I said, what do you got for you now? He said, oh, mate, I'm set you up with Boral and as a spotter on the big hospital around here, or you just get in the mud and do a bit of concrete and all that. So I took up a little bit of spotting work, and then I was out in the break wall one day and I just thought I'd start cementing this break wall, and for the simple fact that there's a couple of things in this town that people just haven't done. 2 grand finals is one.
100%. I can't wait to be talking about that.
Yeah, so I thought, well, imagine how many people in Newcastle would have cemented the break wall. This would be so cool. Just tell people, I did that. And every single day after work, because I only done it for 7 days, I wrote my name in the concrete.
Oh, did you?
And next day I come back and some bastard rubbed it out. So the big boss must be following me every single day. Robbie was here, that shit.
Right.
And then one day the old Gary Jack was hurting, and I looked up and the big Aggie pulled up and I said, how do you get that? And he goes, mate, just black fella, just go, I'll give you one straight away. Yeah, really? Yeah, so
100%.
2 seconds later, I'm in an agitator and I'm driving along with air conditioner and I'm driving along with a radio, and if I don't want to turn that freaking CB on, I don't want to talk to every bastard. But it's pretty funny because the concreters, they're all the best players you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because they let you know. As soon as you get on the job, they say, mate, you should have seen me back in my day. And if it's not them, it's their best mate.
Someone
best
who
player
they
you've
know.
ever seen. I always come back with, mate, so let's chuck it out. Ricky Warabone.
Yeah.
jumping this guy out from Toowoomba because he was one of the best players I've ever seen, you know, and he never went on to be greater. So, yeah, they go, oh, Ricky Wearbrain, one of the best players you ever seen, mate. I said, oh, really? I said, I've seen some pretty good ones. He goes, nah, mate, Ricky Wearbrain, pretty bloody good. Used to see him play. So what's Ricky doing these days? Oh, yeah, up in Moree there, bro. You know, he's big, 120 kilo, he's smoking cigarettes, you know, 15 kids. Oh, but he was the greatest player I've ever seen. I said, oh, yeah, but he just lost his way. He would have been great if he didn't lose his way.
It would have been great.
Who did he play for anyway? No, just Moree, but he's a good player. But and that's all the same grouse stories, nothing to do with nothing.
Mate, it is.
And then they
stories.
tell you about how good a football player they are or who you're talking to. They talk about how much grog they're going to drink in and what they're going to do with the grog. And then Monday morning, I pull up on the job and then they are lined up for me to tell them the story. Like, yeah, here we go.
So it's a never-ending cycle of stories.
Great. They're all pissed as Paris at work. They shouldn't get too much away. But most of them own their own companies, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so I just drive around Miyaji now and I just keep myself happy. And the wife, she's a sales rep for a hair company. So,
and you look like you're still keeping fit, mate, bloody training. By the look of your rig.
Yeah, I didn't push on the fitness side of things because I knew we'd get to that. But I have to because I figured out, oh, Jesus Christ, I'll give it 25, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Figured out I was fucking ugly. And I thought, well, if I keep from neck down going, no one's going to, and I've never still to this day had anyone walk up and say I'm a good looking bloke, but I've had heaps of people say, fuck, you got a good body. So it worked.
Shit, well, I must be doing something wrong then. I've got to go back. I've got to go back and start doing the body.
You've got it right,
the head, mate. The head's gone as well. So we go back into childhood, brother. Let's go back. Obviously, you as I said, you grew up in Toowoomba. What was schooling? What was growing up like for Robbie O?
We'll go right before then. So Dad went to Vietnam.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he served
Wow.
and in the Air Force. I think he was gunman in a helicopter.
Yeah.
Come back, he got pissed as a parrot, fell off the back of a people mover going on a scout out one day and he busted himself up in hospital and they sent him back to Australia and that was the end of his war. So
wow.
When he got back, Mum was based at Williamtown Air Force. She was a referee as well. I went down and I was supposed to be born on the base, but there was no rooms on the base, so they went to the local doctor's house at the base of Kurrajong Hospital. Kurrajong Mountain, so the hospital was closed. So anyway, fucking closed. You couldn't get in there.
Yeah.
At the doctor's house. So Dad's dropped me off, and back in them days you couldn't see the mum getting the birth happen, all that sort of stuff, and mother only allowed in and all that sort of stuff. So she was there by herself, Mum, having me. So Dad dropped me off. 3 days later, he come back, and I was born in 7 hours. So 3 days later, the big fella come back, pissed as a parrot, and he's walked in, he's picked me up, and he looked at Mum, and he said, "What breed is it?" That's the first. According to Mum, that's the first thing he said. "What breed is it?" And it's a boy. He goes, "Robert Troy." She goes, "Robert Troy." He goes, "Robert's my real name." Robert Troy. She goes, "Geez, I like it." Robert Troy O'Davis. She goes, "Where'd you get their names from?" The 2 publicans at the Windsor Castle. They served me the last 3 days. So I got named after the publicans of the Windsor Hotel. Yeah. So
fuck, that's the story.
So Dad was playing for Penrith at the time. He come back, started playing Penrith. He played a couple of first grade games and then went and signed for Western Brisbane and got out of the Air Force and moved up to 7ST in Toowoomba, which is a stores depot, which is just civvies run that for the servicemen. And then, yes, he played in the grand final, I think it's 78, 79, 78 in West Brisbane with John Rebo, Norm Carr, Bobby Foreman, all them sort of guys. He won a grand final there. And then he moved to Toowoomba and then just had a great career in Toowoomba where I had a chance to play with him.
Yeah, I was going to say, because you were like 16 when you actually played alongside your old man.
Yeah, 15. Hadn't turned 16 yet. So
that's pretty mad.
I started my schooling in Toowoomba and, mate, right from the word go, I was a kid that would trip someone walking down the middle of the hall and then as a teacher would go to hit me with a big cane, I'd piss off out of the room and be the quickest kid in so,
yeah, right.
And I knew
that's where you got your speed from.
Yeah, I knew and then played up a fair bit.
Yeah.
And it got to a point that I actually knew I was that quick, so I played up more because Dad could never catch me. I'd run around and hide up the mango tree and he'd just keep running around the freaking circle until the bats got me.
Yeah.
So, and as it turned out, we've started school and went through about 3 or 4 schools in Toowoomba and sucked myself into the last high school. And who we have at that one? We had a girl called Alison Munt, which is a professional golfer, and Nikki Hudson and Dan Stones. So we had
that's cool.
In Chancery Heights in Toowoomba.
Yeah.
And then at the age of 15, so mate, I had a great life growing up. So we didn't spend much time at school because you're playing so many sports. I was a state javelin chucker. I was a state long jumper. I was a Australian touch captain, player, game captain, and then rugby league, and just every single thing I did. If I played cricket for some reason, I'd be wicky because that was wicky or bowl, and then I'd take the gloves off and go bowl. So I had to do every single thing.
Yeah, right.
I played the A-grade tennis team. I couldn't hit a ball back, but I was in the A-grade tennis team because I played football good. He goes good. He's probably bashing people with the tennis racket most of the time. Yeah, so I went through schooling and very successful in all my sports to a point where at the age of about 10 or 11, Dad was captain coach of Toowoomba Newtown Lions, and they had the same outfit as the Jets.
Yeah.
So just to put in perspective what they look like, the white and the blue.
Yeah.
And I actually trained because in the countries you can't get the boys at training. So I'd actually trained with that side so much that from the age of 10 through the age of 15, I've been on the wing filling in numbers that Dad just said, why don't you we're playing a trial match against Brisbane North, coached by Tommy O'Davis at the time.
The old Tommy
O'Davis. Dad's best mates are Tommy and Dad in the Air Force together, but Tommy didn't go overseas.
Yep.
But he'll tell you different.
Yeah, he'll say he did. He fought the war by himself.
He'll tell you that he was actually the pilot in the and Dad's the gunman, he was a pilot. Remember that day in Bungtown, Hawkeye?
Really?
Remember, knew your dad and you're doing right. Good story, Tommy. And when he takes the big puff and goes, nah, fuck it, I was just a gatekeeper back at freaking Richmond Air Force Base. So Tommy O'Davis brought this side down to play Newtown night trials, and I was playing at the age of 15, massive big blow up in Toowoomba, having such a young kid playing, and Dad was getting abused by every bastard. So I played the first half just on the wing, and the second half I went into halfback and chipped and chased and carried on like an idiot after that game. Nothing sort of come of it, just a trial. And Newtown went, get back to your own level. And I said, I sort of felt pretty comfortable up where I was. Yeah. And they said, no, from the backlash we got, give back to your own sort of 16s and 17s and 18s. So the mob on the other side of town, Valley, said, we'll take you as a first grader. So and they obviously seen the promotional value to it too, not just a high player. And I said, well, I didn't. Dad said, take us as a team. Both of us. So we went over. Wow. And Johnny Lang coached Brisbane East in the next trial. He can't bring them down, and the score was five 3-point tries. Back then. And I was 35-5, and I scored the only try and kicked the only goal. And as it turned out, went out with my dad, and probably 10 minutes in the match, right in front of the grandstand at Valley's, he's said, "Come in here." He's about to tap the ball, and he was 110 kilo front rower, but he was hooker that day, and he said, "I want to go hooker because I want to be the one giving Robbie the ball at 5'8". So imagine how big the other two front rowers were, because they used to hook for the ball back then. So they had to hold him up. So the actual two other front rowers are twice the size of him. So,
wow.
Yeah. So anyway, run the field, playing this game, 10 minutes into the match. He's said, "Come here, young fella, I'm going to tap it on this penalty," and I tap it. And he just on the blind side, and they weren't even expecting a little 68 kilos really meant. I'll just pop one down the blind side and gone. Not realising it's freaking Brisbane comp, a little bit smarter, running in the bush. So anyway, the big fella's tapped it and stood there and put it under his arm. And everyone sort of stopped and looked at him, and then the boys just sprinted. And just as they got to him, he ran over and just handed it to me.
Oh,
and they
no way.
And decked me. Welcome to first grade, big fella. Yeah, righty. So I looked up, and by the end of the game, the smarts got the better of him. There was a move called double-double, where little player comes around me from dummy half, and then you sort of, as you show it to him, do the old camera monster, show it to him, pull it back, and then it's little in between us. Yeah, little big fella, but he was the runner. Yeah, right. So he's over there sucking the big ones, hands on the hips, way the other side of the. I seen him double big fella. We're 5 minutes out from the line. So as it turned out, he made sprinter there, got himself in position, and just as our mate come around me, big fella sprint through, and as I looked, massive big hole opened up for the big fella, and he just ran straight through. I pulled it back out of his hands and just dived over the line. And I looked at him and I said, "I feel pretty comfortable here, mate." So he pretty much knew straight away that I was going to be something special, probably from that moment playing. And I just turned 16 at that stage, 15 before the other game. Yep. And then Johnny Lang walked over to me after that and said, "You want to come to Brisbane?" So I went to Brisbane, played 19s for about 5 or 6 games, clocking up a leading try scorer down there. Then I'd go play third grade, second grade, first grade, and still at the age of 16, 78 kilo. And then
that's incredible.
About halfway through the season, Johnny Lang just came and said, "You want to run in the centres?" And like I said, always 5'8", always halfback, never fullback. No. I said, "Righty, in first grade." So I went out there, and that first game, like if you bloody Google it, you see it. There's two tries, man of the match, and all that sort of stuff. And And the numbers they actually put on TV, Warren Boland, when he's interviewing me, said 80 kilos and 180 centimetres and 17 years of age. I was actually 16, 70 kilos and I was 172 kilos, not 180. So I was just a tiny little nothing midget.
Wow.
And just very lucky to get the opportunity. And then the next day, I've had every single club in the NRL ringing.
Really? Wow,
and then the Knights happened to be playing the Broncos on that Sunday. This was on Saturday at Lang Park.
Yep.
Knights played the Broncos on the Sunday. In walks David Waite and says, "You want to come back to the team, meet them, all that sort of stuff."
Yep.
Yeah, so they'd all been on the piss by this stage. They were out and gone. I never meet none of them.
Me, I'm in this too.
All except one bloke walked in pissed about. His name's Glenn Miller.
Yeah.
And they said, and I went, it's a bloody winger. He's shit of the size, big bastard. And they said, I was just telling your family in here about how you're going to go down and this guy, he's a first grade player, is going to take you on his wing and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, this is him, Glenn Miller. Mum said, "You're not going." And Dad just gave me a high five and said, "Get down there, son. Get going, mate."
Wow, really?
And that's how I went. I went at the age of, I played at the end of the year, turned 17, went to Newcastle, and then it was 18 before I played first grade. So
yeah,
right. Year of education down here through the junior ranks and won the Jersey Flag Grand Final.
Jersey Flag Grand Final. And then basically from, 92 was it? I think, was it 92 you kicked off 91. In the Knights?
Yeah, I come down 91. So I played that 1 year 91.
Yep. And then 92 was your sort of NRL first grade.
I'd actually played a couple of trials at this. I think I played a couple of trials at the end of 91, a couple of trials at the start of 92. Yeah. They were trying to get Auckland Warriors into the comp.
Oh, okay, at that time, yeah.
The teams that had the most, New Zealanders, they were taking over, so they took us east. We played over there, City, Manly, and we'd go there because we had 10 Kiwis in our side, the Tony Kemps and the Johnny Shoes, almost a Kiwi. Yeah. Sam Stewart's, we had all them. So I think Manly, they were all full of them too. So we'd go over there and we'd just sort of play them in big matches. I was sort of playing them sort of thing, pre-season matches.
Yep.
And then went back and played a little bit of under-21s. And as I was playing under-21s, I got chosen the New South Wales under-19 side. So that was a bit of a pisser. So I still got that blue jersey. I use it in the toilet every now and then. Wipe my ass on it. So I wore that bloody blue jersey, played a little bit of 21s, went up and we part of a side that won 8 in a row with the Newcastle Knights reserve grade. Yeah. And that was Wayne Richards, Adam Muir, Chimpy Johns, which is a little fat hooker at the time, Matty Johns. Jamie Corcoran, Jamie Ainscoe, mate, just all these players, they're just coming into the club and we're 8 in a row and then they just said one day, Johnny Schuster, Ashley Gordon's kicked the ground and tore his quad. Yep. I didn't even know he had a fucking quad. Yeah. Anyway, he had, I think he might have tore his calf, but it was in his quad. Because it looked the same. So Adrian Brunker's gone away the Origin side. We need you in first grade. Yeah. And I was doing diesel mechanics at the Curry TAFE. Okay. And I turned to the first of all, I thought it was Matty Johns having a piss around as he did back then. He'd done it all his freaking life, even before he played first grade. Yeah. And I thought he was having a piss take. So I turned to the old TAFE teacher after I realised it was David Waite, give me a call saying if you don't be hit by 2 o'clock, you're sort of going to pick someone else. So I walked in this TAFE teacher and I said, mate, I've got to tell you something. I've been doing this diesel mechanics for 6 months. I don't even know where to put the fucking oil. I said, there's a good sort up the back of the class. I've just been perving on her for 6 months. And I said, I don't know. So I've just got chosen in first grade and I'll never work again. Doing these ones, walking out, they're all cheering me as I'm. And that car trip from Curry TAFE to that training session, that was the most important car trip because that's the one that made me realise I was going to be a rugby league first grade. Wow, fuck that. Because I've just given away apprenticeship. Yeah, 100%. I should have kept that because I need it now. But I give it away and I went, no, this is it. I'm not going to go back. Yeah. And sure enough, I kept Ashley out of taking his spot back. And by the time the semi-finals come, I think I got the man of the match in the first semi-final in 92 against West, and that just cemented me in first grade forever, I think. And I knocked Gary Freeman out in my first game. And that was a bloody story in itself, I got out there and about 5 minutes of the match, Matty Rodwell kicks over. I do talk a lot. Matty Rodwell kicks over the corner and
saves me.
My hand went out over the sideline and I just scooped this ball in and put it inside, but the whole time run on the sideline and they almost washed it out. But the excitement of that crowd, the lift of that crowd, back then they had 30,000 people. Yeah. You know yourself. Yep. 30,000 people just screaming as I'm running down the sideline with that hand out and just went left and just inside the corner post. So everything was wrong about it. Hit the corner post, which you can do whatever you do. Run on the sideline, just balls the whole fucking thing up. But thing is that I heard that cheer. I heard
cheer, the roar.
And I wanted it. I wanted it again. And I'm running around. I had this hogging freaking centre called Tony Kemp, also international, so I'm not going to argue with him.
Yeah.
Wouldn't pass me off. Jesus Christ, he's a show and go man.
Yeah.
Mate, because the way he ran, why would you fucking pass it? So sat there and I'm going, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So I looked around and second half I ran out and made 2 really quick tackles and headed towards the 5th tackle. And then as I looked up, my whole life in rugby league just flashed right between my eyes. I just flicked over and you see these great players that run away, and hopefully I was one of them.
Yeah.
That make the decision a split second,
yeah.
flicking, and they always come up with the right decision.
Yeah, yeah.
The instinctive brain kicks in.
Lockyer, he's one of the
crazy
names.
So this instinctive fucking brain of mine kicked in, and I went, this is going to lock me in forever. And I hate the bloke anyway. So they passed the ball to him, and I ran out, and as he kicked the ball, I just cocked my elbow. And like I said, 72 kilos ring, and went playing first grade, my first game in Sydney, and I've just got this guy and he's on the ground and been put on report.
Yeah.
And his name is Gary Freeman. And after the game, David Waite said, "Hey, you're a pretty brave little bastard, aren't you?" So he said, "Just knocked out the fucking Kiwi captain." I said, "Hey, I hate the bloke." He said, "You want to play first grade again next week?" Like, serious? Goes, "Yeah, we'll give you another shot again next week." So
wow.
And next week was down at bloody Cogra, and Brad Godden injured himself 5 minutes before the match in the warm-up. They put me back at fullback and I run length of field, scored a try, and Wadey goes, "You're playing fullback now? Goddo, you get on the wing."
Mate, going back to that time when you were fullback, obviously Newcastle night, you are one. You've done your whole career at Newcastle, and you are one of the greats when it comes to recognition, and whether people know it or not through the generations, but your name will always be edged on Newcastle nights and going through that. That feeling of, as you said, with the crowd roaring like a drug. You wanted to keep going and going and going. With the obviously the size was always, everyone would go, "You're a little fella," but as you said, the coach goes, "You're a fucking brave little fella." What was that feeling there? Because you would have been still only young. And then he goes, "You want to play first grade again next week?" What's that do to you? Like your mindset, then you're like, fuck, pumped up, you know what the crowd's like.
Well, you're scared to compete with the big boys, and I'm a little man in a big man's game, and I always say that. To achieve what I've done it's a little man in a big man's game. It's
outstanding.
Crazy, but adrenaline warms you up,
yeah,
and you can do anything with adrenaline.
Yeah, true.
Blokes in the pub walk up and said, "Oh, I've fucking seen TV's bigger than you," and all this sort of shit, or you look bigger on TV, and so I've never seen a fucking TV bigger than me. Like, whatever. So anyway, as it turns out, Dad said at a young age, I want to play your sport, and I was playing soccer. And I come home from school one day and had my mate's headgear on, mate's shoulder pads on. And I said, "Dad, I want to play your sport." And he said, I still remember like yesterday, and I can't remember too much.
Yeah.
He goes, "You take all that shit off your body, I'll let you play football." I went, "Oh, I thought you want me to wear it, let you play." He goes, "If you're wearing protection, it shows you're scared. Never protect yourself from a contact sport." He said, "Because you're showing a weakness. Take the shit off and let you play." So that's rung in my head my whole life.
Really?
It made me a brave person, which ended up backfiring.
I was going to say, now they're all about all the head.
Well, yeah, so it's backfired on me, Richard. So my head is one of them ones they're probably testing a fair bit. So because I was so brave and I was so tiny, I didn't really feel part of that team because there was such big humans. You had the big chief and you had the sarge and you had these guys. I looked at the other winger, Glennie Miller, and mate, even Adrian Brunker's a big tall kid.
Because you're in a team that with some fucking huge names.
Well, huge names and huge statures too.
And statures.
So they're just big boys. And me being such a little guy, I always thought, these guys just looking and laughing, what this guy doing? So I had to prove to myself that I was there to stay.
Yep.
And what they want me to do is tackle people, and what they want me to do is catch the fucking ball, because forwards don't want to catch the ball.
Nah.
And I didn't ball enough, so I used to sit there hours and hours after training. I wouldn't go home until I catch 10 balls straight. Yeah, some days I get it in 1 minute, some days I get it in 5 hours. So
yeah, really.
Try ask Joey John to kick your fucking balls for 5 hours. Ain't going to happen. So,
wow.
And to Kenny Kickchase. That's why he come to the club. Then Kenny Kickchase, that's why he come. He just sit there and kick the balls for me. He would never go home. Anyway, as it turned out, I took on board my powerful source of things I could use to make the team respect me as a player.
Yep.
Bravery was one of the big things. I went and won all the strength competitions, so I made sure that I was strongest pound for pound in the club. So
yeah, wow.
I was bench pressing my own body weight 30 times and chin up and bloody 30 times, and I think 50 pull-ups, and just ridiculous numbers. Just make sure that they knew I was ready to compete.
Yeah.
and then just did stuff that you had to do as a fullback. First of all, I had to do things that they wanted me to do as a winger or a player, and that was to score tries and stop people from jumping over me. I think 5th or 6th game, we played Auckland Warriors and fucking John Kerwin was marking me. John Kerwin's the other winger to John Lomu.
Oh, yeah.
No one knows John Kerwin because fucking John Lomu was on
John Lomu was too massive.
Yeah, this other bloke, he's got freaking movies written about him, like Running on Instinct, John Kerwin, scoring length of tries, exactly the same stature as him.
Yeah, right.
So I remember just coming off that field one day and just going, mate, John Kerwin, what bigger number can you have than John Kerwin? And went to the park in the bar in Auckland and walked over and had a little red coaster and went over and said, John, can you sign this for me, please, mate? And he's looked at me. He goes, yeah, no worries. And grabbed one and said, can you sign this? I said, what do you want to sign that for? He said, you're the one that scored 3 tries around me today.
Oh, really?
It's not your game, brother. So I've learned pretty quickly that the size wasn't a big factor. It was just the bravery. And being such a brave person, like I said, it backfired me in the end because, when you sit there and finish from the game, you've got to live the rest of your life. And if you live the rest of your life with brain injury, it's a pretty bad thing.
100%.
Because you can't re-educate. That's the biggest thing is you can't re-educate. And then you have the other thing where you can't understand why you can't re-educate because you're looking at words and you're reading words and you're going, why do I have to go up and start that freaking sentence again, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, okay. So brave is a good thing. It get me through and be that so-called name that everyone's saying Newcastle, the player that everyone wants to play with, but I didn't want to be. I in the end, I found out I want to be the person that everyone wants to be, not the player that everyone wants to play with, because that person is a pretty good person. No, well said. And as I say, like even me sort of watching from outside and the Knights and your name, obviously the Queensland, mate, there was, you when you watched you play, you were basically the same size as any other fucking player on that field. Honestly, when you're watching it on the TV, you're watching the State of Origin, because they're the only 3 games I watch these days in life, because I think when I just get so amped up for Queensland, I don't know why, I'm just like, fucking, come on, Queensland, fuck. But it's when I used to watch you play and some of the hits you used to do, but some of the ball playing and the breaks and the tries that you used to score, honestly, it was like you were the same size as what these other big boys were. And that's probably why people were saying, you're not as fucking big as on TV, because that's people's perception. When you're doing as much as anyone else on that field, and whether it's Newcastle, whether it's Australia, whether it's State of Origin, like you've got to be at the fucking top of the game to be one in the NRL. Never alone Queensland, never alone Australia. So that's what I think people understand when obviously the younger ones coming through today, and they look back at you guys who I class as some of the greats in rugby league. Somehow I don't know. It's a bit different today, probably because I'm getting older too. But it's a different look that I'm looking at. The State of Origin, still as quick, still as hard as ever, if not probably harder and quicker than probably what it used to be. But it would have been still quick back in your day too, wouldn't it? What was the crowd getting, because I get all amped up about the Queensland, when you're running on Lang Park back in the day? Oh, stop it.
No, like
they're sitting right on you. If that
sitting on you,
cage fence wasn't there, it's like you played in the prison. There's the movies that friggin' Danny DeVito on that when they actually playing in cage prisons, and all the guys out in the middle. That was like, it's like a big cage prison. You get out there and it didn't stop the beer cans coming over to Wally that time, did it? But I'm not giving too much away, but you sit on there, I come there at the age of 14, I just go, oh, look at this Lang Park, this is incredible. And sitting up on the wet hill, and the whole thing was a wet hill, but it's wet hill, and the big joint come about this big, someone just rolled a big joint and was coming around, and I'm a 14-year-old kid, and I said, I don't even know what to do with this freaking thing, and pass it on. But 2 seconds later, I wasn't watching the freaking match of the I didn't see freaking shit. Last time I ever smoked marijuana.
Really?
Just had a big atmosphere of the fuck.
2
seconds later, they're pumping their cans in some New South Wales bloke running across the friggin' in the can boat. The old can boat, pump anyone New South Wales jersey. It was that bloody good. But that crowd there always comes second to the one down here. Because the one down here were for you. The one up there were for every Queensland player, every single player that ever played, every guy that went on that boat of grass. And they're very spasmodic. So they'll cheer on moments. They wouldn't cheer for no reason. These guys would just cheer for no reason. And when they started that Newcastle chant years ago, they fucking meant it. Now they do it because the boys are playing that bad and they just try to get something going. And they would lift us to another thing. But to earn the respect of the crowd was another big thing too, you know.
Yeah, really.
So I enjoy the game.
Yep.
And I'm very blessed to be able to play the game. And I always understood that. And I knew that who paid me wage. I knew them people on the hill paid me wage.
Yeah, true.
And I would go to the kickoff, and as I walk back, the Knights grannies would be sitting there, and I'd just lean on the fence and have a chat to the Knights grannies. And I was trying to be that different player. I think I spent, Matty Johns calls it last ever victory lap. I mean, last ever game I ever played, I was out there for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Split eye. By the time I come in, Pete McGee, the doctor, was pissed as a parrot. He couldn't stitch me. I said, I'm not going to the hospital. On Saturday night to get stitches. No way in the world.
Wow.
You stitched me, Pete. So I think my dad and him held each other's hands, put the freaking needles in and then the stitching. The best job you ever seen. It's not even a scar there.
Mate, I was going to say, they're just like wrinkles now, like mine. Mine are just wrinkles.
Yeah, so I tried to just embrace
Connect with the people?
Tried to, love to. I just love to spend every single time. And when I was having a bad period of life, and this was the most powerful thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
Bad part of my life. I went and visited the John Hunter Hospital. I went and visited some hospitals down in Sydney, sent there by the Knights. I wouldn't go there on my own. Yeah. Sent there by the Knights. Yeah. Get sent, told what to do and all that sort of stuff. So something happened. I had a bad day or something like this about 1995, and something went through my head that I just might go to the children's ward of John Hunter Hospital and just mention my name and say, can I just visit a few kids? Yeah. So anyways, I think I might have done it halfway through the year or something. So I went in, and my name got me in to see every single kid. So it didn't matter how sick, who they were, whether they go in the rooms. I was putting the gloves on and the mask on where you couldn't go in. Yeah. And I just went seeing, and the look on the kids' faces become contagious for me. So the same way the people in the crowd were sort of looking at me, with them like, I always want to be that person.
How you made them feel. Yeah,
I was walking in and feeling every single one of these kids. So not literally, but just feeling there. And next week I'd done it again. And next week, so within 6 months, I become the patron of Ronald McDonald House. And
really,
they reckon still to this day I haven't been seen. There's a big patron board sitting in the Ronald McDonald House in Newcastle, and they reckon I'm the only name that ever got put on that board.
Wow.
So I'll just go visit these kids to a point where on my when we got my nose bashed up in 2003, so I'd been visiting kids for 7-8 years at that stage. Yeah. The kids actually finally come down to my room in the hospital.
Oh, really?
They all visited me in their wheelchairs and stuff.
Oh, that's mad.
Unfortunately, there was a lot of the same kids that I seen at the age of 2, 3, 4, and they were now 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They were growing up.
Wow.
And still getting sort of cancer, still had the same problems. And then on my testimonial dinner at the Workers Club, they brought every single kid from the John Hunter Hospital over to the Workers Club and rolled them out on stage. And that was, then you sort of knew you won the crowd, and you've done every single thing. And I say all the time, the things that I got out of the game, satisfying things like scoring things and getting the medals and trophies. It's nothing as important as it's going to see them kids and get them loving you. So
and that's a special thing, because not only are you giving to them and you see how happy they are to be connected to you, but you get that back tenfold as well.
Oh, straight up. Straight up.
Because you're feeling the spirit of them, and it's being known as a player, because a lot of players, they might just go in the middle these days and do the old fucking clap, and then they don't connect with the fans as much.
Are they doing that because they've been told to make sure you thank the fans? Because I remember right at the start, make sure you thank the fans, guys, because you got to win them. And that's at the start of the club, not when it's been there for 30 years. Yeah. So they're getting told, like, boys, go back home. Yeah. Because they're too busy far-dicing around with someone from the other team.
Yeah, that's right.
Plus you'd punch you in the head before you shake your hand.
Yeah.
And these guys are sitting talking about their wives and kids and all. I don't get that side of it. No. And all the old boys don't. And the supporters that pay big money, they hate it. Yeah. So we don't get it, but they hate it. Yeah. So that's got to stop. Just walk off, go celebrate or commiserate with your team. Don't celebrate or commiserate over a handshake and a bloody half a bloody
there was always a bit of media about that.
They haven't pushed it hard enough.
Yeah.
I reckon they should really push that, because the fans just absolutely hate that they do that.
Yeah.
But
it's like the vision that the fans get is like, they lost again, but it seems like they're happy just to lose and just shake their hand and just go off, instead of going, fuck, we should have done better.
A draw, mate.
Yeah.
Pay them win-loss bonus. See how freaking
100%. Times will change then.
Oh, mate, this is the way it went really quickly. Yeah. It's yourself, Steve Fulmer, Jamie Ainscoe and Neville Allen runs showing there, the groundsman. And we just finished playing this day. We played St. George, and they put 31,000 people in the stadium, overcrowded. and put another big TV out in the bloody car park to accommodate the other 5,000 people that couldn't get in.
Oh, really?
So 5,000 people in the car park watching this big screen, massive big game. So after the game finished, and this is reality, we're in the grandstand, in the dressing room, and we won the game. And Snell Allen comes over to the three of us and says, "Oh, boys, you can go out there and pick up the papers now and clean the hill, and you can have a big night on the piss and sleep in, or you have to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning and clean the hill. So what do you want to do?" So we all looked at each other and said, "We might as well clean the hill now." So everyone left.
Yeah.
We walked out of the dressing room after a game against, first grade game against St. George, went out with papers and filling up bloody things, but clean the hill up and went and got on the piss. So that's just reality, mate. You have to go work for a living. These days, they get paid win, loss or draw. I think it was 1,200 a win, 800 a draw, and zip for a loss.
Really?
Yeah, you used to get some contracts that zip. I had a zip for a loss.
Did you?
So that's what I fucking played hard.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, mate, when you, because even you'd think, well, people looking at that NRL, as soon as you made the NRL, they're like, fuck, he must be on hundreds of thousands. But it's
my first 3 years was 7.5, 15, and 21. Then my first 3 year sign-up contracts with like win-loss bonuses.
Really? Wow. And then you look at it now.
Oh yeah.
Fucking $700,000, $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it? It is mind-boggling when you get to that stage, and they do less for that in respects. But
I love Kmart. If I had a $1.4 million contract, I'd be smashing Kmart. My whole house would be just Kmart. I can imagine how many pairs of
Kmart lover.
Pairs of sludge and shoes.
They aren't our sponsors either. I'll have to give them a ring and see if we can get them on the sponsorship thing. Let's go back to the 97 grand final. One hell of a year. Take me through your eyes in regards to in the 97 grand final. Well, because you've got all the best players.
Yeah, Mel really done his homework.
Yeah.
He come to young, hungry kids. And he come over here not to so much coach us that much. He come over to direct us. Yeah. Sort of like Wayne Bennett's the best manager of players on and off the field. So he doesn't sit there and just enjoys the game with his arms crossed like this, Wayne, because he's a manager. So this guy's more of a director. He'd direct you to get on the field perfectly and then direct you around the park a bit. Still talk a fair bit. But he just knew there was young, hungry kids, and he just would only speak to Matt and Andrew and Chief pretty much.
Really?
They just run the show, yeah. Chief because of his
grit.
Just how big and aggressive
but
he was.
He's probably seen in the team as a leader well.
Definitely. You had the two Jones boys were in the peak of their powers. They were just chucking 30-metre past left, right, and then all these young kids come in like the Owen Craigies and the Darren Alberts, and then you had 26-year-old Billy Peden that thought his career was finished, but he's coming, and he just come from tough kid from out at Cessnock.
Yep.
Guy that's supposed to be a mechanic, and he drove all the way to Sydney one day, and a guy beside him called Daniel Smiles. I don't remember Smilesy.
I'm not quite sure.
As we're driving, this is how good a mechanic he was.
Yeah.
Going, oh shit! I've done the diff, so they pulled over the side of the road, and they're going 20 kilometres an hour. Come back on the freeway, and the noise is gone. Doof, doof, doof. Oh fuck! Pull over again, Billy. So they're going over, and as they're going over, 20 kilometres an hour all the way to Sydney on the side of the road. Got into Sydney, and the doof doof's not working. It's not happening. Oh, let's go. So they flew into the city and had the big night on the piss and driving home the next day. And they're going along, oh, geez, I can't believe the car's fixed. Going along, doof, doof, doof. Oh, shit, there's that noise again. Pull over the side of the road. And Smilesy goes, driving them things on the side of the road. He'd been driving on them fucking. Yeah, so Billy was actually a mechanic at that stage. He thought he'd done the So he was, destined to be a rugby league player.
Oh, Billy. I was going to say.
He's a champion, dude. And just, mate, just guys like, I know McDougall come later, but the 97, with Darren Albert flying, with at one stage, and I know.
You would have been, was everyone fucking in that team at that time thinking, fuck, let's just try and come up with something where it looks like we're going to lose?
Well, no.
What was the attitude?
As far as Leo Denver, he brought this, Leo Denver was that little Aboriginal kid that come down, and he put for Sherberg, and he put us all back together. We lost Joey in the first trial, and he was out for the year, and Premiership media out sort of thing, and he held us there for the whole year. So we formed a little black line. So all these, Jason Moody, Brett Grogan, Owen Craigie, myself, Leo Denver. So I had all these little black fellas in the black line, and they were calling us the black line. Can't do it no more, we get in trouble. Yeah. But they called us the black line, and somehow Matty John thought he was black too, so he jumped in there, and like an Albie on the wing is the whitest black man I've ever seen. So we formed this little black line. So just tore the comp apart, and we were just doing this whatever, and it was literally like Aboriginal knockout. We're doing whatever we want,
and that's how it's.
And the
played.
guys up the front were belting people. Adam Muir was absolutely belting people. Mark Lamb were running over the top of people and butts. He was just, mate, they were just angry human beings.
Yeah.
And Billy started playing a bit of hooker, and then they brought Lee Jackson to the club, and then Lee Jackson, was an international hooker. So
yeah, he was.
We had a really, really good, and mate, and that guy called Troy Fletcher. And Scotty Connolly, they were born. Where these guys come from? Troy Fletcher in the grand final is the best player by a long way. So guys like this were just coming through, and they were just lifting the level of the guys that were on the field. And we went right through, and when you play for a team and when you play for a town, you're not going to fucking lose that town, mate. As simple as that. We left with 100,000 people cheering us down the road. We went along the main freeway, and mate, like rock stars, girls hanging their tits out, and by the time I got their number, the fucking bus had gone past. So mate, it was just like, couldn't come back to a losing game. So.
But that's you could even see that through media back in the day. Like, but that try, I mean, fuck, when Albert went through that, like the Joey Johnson pass, and then Albert, fuck, everyone must have the feeling. I don't know. No one can describe it.
The time back then was you'd play for the whole lot.
That's right.
You didn't play for golden point.
No,
so
that's right.
Also, this day we were flying down the field that quickly at that stage in the game that when extra point we would have golden minutes, whatever, we would have won the thing by 20. So we were just flying. We were just getting down there pretty easy and all that sort of stuff. And the boys stopped and opted to take the kicks instead of just keep. We probably would have scored.
Yeah.
Joey does what he wants, and he went down the sideline, and any other person other than Darren wouldn't have got there because he's quickest bloke on earth.
He was. Fuck, he got through there.
And I'm happy for him. I got a couple other tries to sort of get me through the match and all that sort of stuff. And I was happy for Albie because he's my best mate.
Was he? Yeah, okay.
I was sort of like thinking, I'm going to ride here, but the little mate out in the wing is, I'm not getting bowled and all that sort of stuff. But when he won the big one.
Fuck, when he won that.
Yeah, we hadn't had sex till then. So, so he hadn't stopped rooting. No, he's married, I'm joking. So mate, he done well, and he played the cards really well.
And then as you say, like that's for a small town, so to speak, a small city, Newcastle, who's passionate about their rugby league. Everyone thought, fuck, the game's over. Manly's got this one. The Knights come second again, and you win the game. As you say, driving down the highway, coming back into the Newcastle city. I know it would have been fucking much of a blur for you guys, but what's that like? Because you had the full city, some of the photos that go back in history, some of the thousands upon thousands in the main part of Newcastle with you guys up on the, I think it was the hall, the main hall of town.
Yeah, it was. The night before we were up on the Workers Club.
That's right,
and then up on the hall. But just to go right back through the game, just quickly and say what led us to that part. And the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes of Chief display alone, mate, he hit Jeff Tuvey around the neck, held him, was banging him on the ground and punching Chief in the spud in the head at the same time. Like he was just out of control and turned everyone into freaking madmen. So before the game, Chief made a speech the night before the game, which very emotional speech, and sort of broke everyone down, and everyone said they're emotional, why they want to win this and all this sort of stuff. And then just before the game kicked off, Chief started telling the same speech, but the boys had that much nervous tension. They didn't want that speech. They wanted, I'm going to knock someone's fucking head off speech. Yeah. And Chief started saying, we've got to win this, bring it back to Newcastle for the earthquake. No, we didn't want that one.
We had that one last night.
Yeah, so Matty John's as clever as he is, as we're all standing around. He's come out of the tight circle, and he's gone, you good speech, Chief? Just hit him up the guts. He goes, boys, listen, George Clooney. Boys, what? He goes, let's just all be gorgeous like George Clooney, eh? Like, hands in the middle, 1, 2, 3, Knights. And mate, like I said, he's that clever, and he was back then that he just took everyone's attention away because we all laughed at how funny that was. He took everyone's attention. So that's the last thing that was said to it before we went on the field was fucking, let's be gorgeous like George Clooney. That was
really? Wow.
And went out there.
I reckon that hasn't been heard ever.
Mate, and then half time to top that off, we were out there and so my try on Terry Hill, that was, I'd watched him get kicked in the ribs the week before. And I knew he'd carrying something. And I just sort of dreamt the night before, if I go, I'll go Terry's right-hand side. So I called the ball 5 minutes out from the scrum, and that's the Jones boys just don't give it to you 5 minutes out from the scrum. It's their ball. Yeah. So, and Matty sort of looked at me, and so I put my head down. I was opposite Terry, and I went, fuck, I know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to dummy and dig straight into his fucking rib cage and see how it's going. So anyway, just exactly like a dream. So anyway, Max just give it straight to me. Oh shit! So as I went across, I see Noe coming. As I dummied Noe, I just dummied to bury into his ribs, and he wasn't there no more. I just ran away and scored. So
wow,
that was the punch that we needed. That was, the boys were hitting hard, but we needed points on the board.
We need points, yes.
So when we got them points on the board, mate, we just got this kick up the arse, and away we went. And I think Troy Fletcher made that massive big break that led to me second try on the sticks, and then Albie obviously finished it off. As we're driving back, the crowd started forming from along the highway from entrance,
really?
And then we had millions of cars just leading us into town. As we pulled up, there was a big roundabout at Wallsend.
Yeah.
And we went around the roundabout, and Mal really, okay, we're going to stay on the bus, lads. We're going to stay on the bus. No getting off the bus, lads. And they just stopped in the middle of the road. No getting, and we're just waving. Everyone saying, the two fucking Johns boys just ran out and hit the thing, and they just dived out. And they're carrying them. They've sat them on top of two police cars, and they're just doing this stupid freaking dance they do. So anyway, no one else got out, and they were all trying to get on the bus. So we moved them back on the bus, and then we moved back into town. As we went into town, they said, let's go. We leave at Castle Stadium. Everyone just happy in their tracksuits. Yeah, we're going to go into the Workers' Club. So as we went in the Workers' Club, mate, from the start of the city, it was just like millions and millions of people, millions of drunk people, and happy, not fighting drunk, just happy drunk.
Yeah, just celebrating.
So by the time we get to the Workers' Club, we led in by this fucking horse, and how the friggin' someone didn't hit it on the arse or pig root or anything. It was the horse that used to lead the horses out on the racetrack. And so Sir Rusty rode that all week.
Yeah, right.
So he let us down. No one touched the horse. He's just that well behaved. And 2 seconds later, we had people on top of the bus. And then I think I walked out first. And then I got hand raped by every single bastard. And then I think Joey, then they went trophy. And mate, it was just got up on the balcony, and they actually said, So they actually said about Chief on the balcony, mate, you can't hold that 100-kilo trophy off the balcony and shake it like this. You drop it, someone's going to die.
You're going to die, yeah.
And then the bouncer come and just jumped on the back of him. He didn't realise that wasn't the real trophy. We got the 10-kilo trophy. Oh. so we've partied hard, and then the next day.
How long did the party go for? But
well, went to about Friday. I drove to Byron Bay. Just had enough. On the Tuesday morning, we've done our Mad Monday. Just leave us alone. No ticket tape. Tuesday we went on the ticket tape parade. Hence the big Screaming Jets concert, and going up on the balcony on the City Hall.
Yeah.
Literally, I've seen photos of it. They reckon it's 100,000 people, but I don't have to. There's a fucking lot.
Bro, I reckon 100% there'd be fucking 100,000 there easy.
Yeah, mate,
you just couldn't see any of the ground, anything.
I think everyone done was a stupid dance at one stage. So every time you go to a nightclub, Nutbush would come on and I'd do my dance. So Nutbush was out the arse, and everyone's doing this stupid fucking arm rolling dance. The jig of joy it was. So I watched The Last Boy Scout a week before.
Yeah.
And Bruce Willis tells everyone up and he does this jig of joy along the freaking thing. So I'd done it the week earlier, and they wrote about it in the paper. Will he do it again? So when I seen Big Dukes running towards me, I'd done the dance and rounded off, and I said, give me a man shake, big fella, it's game time. Another sponsor for you?
Hey, the old man shake. Yeah, fuck. I think he still owns a little bit of it, but he did get
good luck to the boys.
Some good money for that. So 97 is the first really experience of a grand final for you.
Yep.
And then 2001 Premiership. Were you in obviously playing that? Yep. What was the difference in that Premiership to the, obviously you've already won 97. Mm-hmm. Was it still the same feeling, the same motivation in 2001?
Geez, yeah. We're playing the full comp then.
Yes,
so
yes.
The one thing they all doubt us, we always
97 because Super League was involved and fucking everything up.
And that's the only single thing that I think the NRL, ARL's stuffed up in the whole thing. They should have played them two teams.
Yeah, okay.
They should have played them like a World Club challenge. We should have played the Bronx, see who was the best team.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
We wanted to. We're all contacting each other like, you want to play and all that sort of shit. So so we wanted to play. 2001, there's a argument on who's the best side. 97 or 2001 for us, because there's some good players and great players. Five played in both, but they're just across the board. They're just as big and strong and aggressive. Anyway, and the skill factor was always there and all this sort of stuff. You put a Tomato Taylor on that side and Owen Craig on that side, you got the same athlete sort of thing. So anyway, we got out in the field. The only difference I think between the two grand finals were in Newcastle in 97. People were spent by Wednesday and they had to go back to work because there was only Newcastle people partying with us.
Yeah, okay.
Because it was such a big party, and Joey promoted that by being a dickhead, roller skating and carrying on.
Hey, that's still an iconic fucking photo, bro.
I've seen fucking tattooed on so many people.
I was even in Daniel Johns' fucking exhibition down in Melbourne, and I even text Joey Johns and went, him and Daniel Johns together when Daniel Johns was young with the fucking, the dreadies, and then that, the hat, with us sitting there together going, that photo was down on the exhibition. I was like, fucking wow. And his skateboard was.
Well, when Joey got him and brought him over the ground, he'd come in and
were they big at that?
Yeah.
Silver chair?
Yeah, he was about 16, I think, and he had the big dreadlocks and stuff, and they couldn't get him through the gate because they weren't letting anyone through the gate except the players.
Yeah.
And Joey was arguing at the front gate to get him through. So when he ended up getting through, the crowd went off their head, not realise it was Daniel Johns putting him through. So he's coming, as he came into the dungeon bar, I think Mark Lamble chucked a pie at his head.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then Billy Peden come and rub tomato sauce in, a bit of pie in the shit, I'll put tomato sauce. So this Daniel Johns sitting there with freaking pies and shit, and Big Chief and Crowy nude as bears chucking kegs down the middle of the field, and this Daniel Johns, and I was about 2 seconds away from him, or that he was in there too. He's Daniel Johns.
Isn't that mad when you're at your stature and then you see a young 16-year-old who was a fucking silver chair?
Was a gun. So mate, he turned to me, and I still, these words fucking ringing my ears. He goes, I'm the fucking rock star, not these blokes. That's the last time I ever spoke to him.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. I just walked away.
Man, I tell you.
He left about half an hour later because he was shitting himself. Then Joey went and found him later to do other stuff.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, so in 2001, the party was joined by everyone else. Newcastle people, once again, went back to work about, Wednesday and left us alone. By Thursday, Friday, you still had people from Sydney and hangers on. But he loved it because we were part of the party. They just never had time for the boys alone. Time was just always someone else there. Someone. I remember on about the Tuesday, about the Wednesday in '97, Chief and Maddie said, "Let's get tattoos." So they all went down the tattoo parlour and they come back with designer tattoos. So when they come back from the tattoo parlour, the designer tattoos, we're going down one at a time and taking a bit more extra time because blood and beer doesn't go hurt.
That's right. Thin.
Yeah. So everyone's pissing blood. I'm almost struggling to get the tattoo done.
Oh, shit.
So when we come back, everyone's got their tattoo, and one of the boys just randomly tossed out, "You know what? This is boring. Let's go have a beer with Manly." So anyway, we're on the bus. We're heading down to going through Catherine Hill Bay, and Big Chief has stopped the bus. Stop this, mate. Why the fuck we want to drink with them?
Really?
So I don't know why. Who said it? But we're just all that drunk. We was, let's go with them, and we're heading off. So let's go to the Catho pub. So we went there for about 3 days. So the Catho pub, and the boys go, okay, tattoo show. Everyone showed their tattoos. The only two blokes that didn't get a tattoo was Matt and bloody Chief. They're the only two blokes.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
We didn't want to get tattooed.
Fuck, that's,
Yeah, so mate, that's the only difference that we had other people drinking with us because you can't pick the sides apart. Some of the highlights of both them years were just incredible.
And it's such a fucking passionate town when it comes to the Newcastle Knights.
Yeah.
And they're going through a sad stage at the moment. Mm-hmm. And what do you see as the difference to the team that is now to back then? Why do you think this
homegrown, mate. All homegrown. No, I wasn't born in here, but Mum was based at Williamstown Air Force Base, pregnant with me. That'll do me.
Yeah, but I get that. I get that where, I understand that. And from an outsider looking in, raising the young ones, the locals to play for the locals teams.
Yep.
It has seemed like over the last 3 or 4 years, even when I was living here, that everyone they get is either at the end of their career or they just come for a holiday.
Yeah.
I'm not quite, and that's harsh, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way to any of them, because you've got some of the fucking greats, Dangai, all them Pongs and all the rest of them. But there's something.
You can't bag a great athlete. But they're just not gelling at the moment. At the start, I think the Knights bought a lot of New South Wales losing players.
Yeah.
So they weren't gelling as a team in New South Wales colours. Yeah. And they brought them all up here, there were 4 or 5 of them, and they just couldn't play as a team.
So that's where they went wrong. So I think put the Queensland side in there.
Exactly. You can't get too many Queenslanders in there. I think we've got a couple now actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in doing that, they just you can't bag the boys because they're trying to ask. They're training hard. 100%. They're doing, but something's just not gelling with them. And when it does gel, when it kicks off,
and it would be really good to see. I would honestly, I would love to see the team gel.
Yep.
And not just for the players, from Adam O'Brien's point of view too, because when you're a coach, you may be a great coach, but something's not happening. I'd love to see it for him, you know, in regards to that too.
Just don't coach on the field.
No,
senior players do.
Exactly.
So senior players got to get shit together. I'm never going to be critical of Cowan, but I see that Brimson, he's touching the ball 3 or 4 times a set. Munster touched the ball 3 or 4 times a set. You know, Cowan's just touching it once or twice and just doing pretty stuff.
Yep.
So just get competitive, kiddo. When he gets his head right,
Yep.
mate, he's literally going to be the best player we've ever seen.
100%.
No one's seen anyone move laterally.
He's not even
the same.
Well, he's mature, but he's not mature.
Oh, exactly.
He's not mature
No.
into that rugby league mind and going, fuck, boom, that. He's got great skills, and you see him every now and again when he, boom, blasts out. But as you say, there'll be a time where he matures and things will click, and then you go, fuck, that's what we've been waiting for.
Well, they've got onto him now. They've got that if they slam his head on the ground, he's going to injure. So the trial match against Parramatta.
That's right.
The 2 tackles he got made on him,
Yep.
2 head slams. So they're not stupid.
No.
They know how to get him off the field. So
Yeah.
good luck to them all, eh?
That's right. So if you've seen the Queensland 2 grand finals with Newcastle. Oh, you've played in 2, 3?
2. I played and the Jersey flag one.
Yeah.
And a couple of 7s tournaments.
Played for Australia, top of the pile. 223 games, 12 for Queenslanders, and Australia in 8. If I was to say, Robbie O, at present, what is post football? What you've done in rugby league was amazing, and people when they look back at the name on the boards and the belts, the rings, everything else, what would be your rich life at present? What really makes Robbie O live a happy and good life right at present?
Oh, money's always a good thing, isn't it?
No, money always helps.
No, I got some great memories. Other memories out of rugby league. The best memory I ever took out, other than the kids in the hospital, was after the 97 grand final. Obviously playing dad was a good one.
Yeah.
Origin, mate. Geez, I can go back Australian matches, and I think in the World Cup tour, I played 8 tests and got 8 tries. So it was going pretty good for Australia too.
100%.
And then along come the fucking drug episode, and it was all over. But one day I was just sitting out at the Walls End Touchfields, and I was watching. I've had plenty of them. My first wife play a game of touch football, and I heard my name getting called. And as I heard my name getting called, I thought it was just a bit of a piss take because everyone sort of knew the grand final just got played and all that sort of stuff. And I was just sitting on this seat and heard the name getting called. And I sort of turned around, and it was 1.8 metre fence sitting behind me, and didn't sort of really care too much about it. And then I heard my name got called again. And
Who is that?
all right, so someone's having to go. Let it go. About 4 or 5 times after getting my name called, so I stuffed this one to go have a look. So I get a little rock and I get up on this 1.8 metre colourblind fence, look over, and there's 6 kids in there about 8, 9, 10 years old playing a game of football, and they were being me. So every time they get the ball,
really?
Robbie gets the ball, steps 1, steps 2, and as a kid, I was Malmananga, I was Wally Lewis. I'd do that, but to actually see someone being you was just the most incredible thing I've ever seen. So I was watching them for about 5 minutes, thinking, I don't want to just tell them I'm here.
No.
I just want to watch it and see what else they do and all that sort of stuff. Doing dances and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, as it turned out, one kid went underneath the goalpost. He got up and done the stupid dance, and as he did it, the other kid come to push him over, and he goes, "I told you I was Robbie O at the start." And he goes, "No, I said I was Robbie O," and these 2 were fighting, and that was me come in. I went, "Hey, how about I be Robbie O?" And the look on these kids' faces when they turn around and see me there, that was, I'll never forget.
Yeah.
I jumped the fence and I played football with them for about half an hour. Obviously, the game of touch was fucking boring. Played half an hour. The kids, and the look on those kids' faces was nothing compared to the look on the mum's face when she went out and seen a fully grown man playing football in the backyard with the kids. Until she figured out who I was. Yeah. Then so that was the best thing that ever happened. About 10 years later, I was at the castle, it was called back then. Yeah. And I just had a beer, and a young fella came over and said, "Can I buy you a beer?" And I said, "Oh, I'm fine, thanks. I'll get you one." He goes, "No, I want to get you one." He walked over and gave it to me, and he said, "Oh, you played football in the backyard with me when I was a little kid." So I ended up meeting one of them kids growing up. So
wow.
That was the most unreal thing that's ever happened to me.
A couple of times when you've said going out to the crowd, connecting with the crowd, going to the hospital, connecting with the kids that were sick, and then seeing that sort of thing that hit you. I see that makes you a little bit emotional. Oh yeah, in regards to with people. Just again, your heart and your spirit to connect with people, to make them feel happy, which makes you feel happy, obviously.
Well, I can't control my life anymore. It's in the hands of work. It's in the hands of, love, marriage, and all that sort of stuff. So on a football field, I somewhat can control.
Yeah.
And in life, you don't get a result every weekend.
No.
So that's what I struggle with most of all. In life, day to day, I just really struggle with not having a result on a weekend.
Yeah.
And I'm sick of blaming. I try to place blame. So I just turned 50 the other day. Very good looking 50. I know.
Hey, wait till November. I'm 50 too.
Yeah, the boys. We expect a phone call. So with this turn of 50, I just woke up one day and said, I'm 50 now. Stop blaming every bastard for everything I've done. And I always used to think, why aren't I getting back? Because I gave so much, but I gave so much because I wanted to. But when I retired and I lost everything, and I'm thinking, why am I getting back? So I always thought that then. It was the wrong thing to think. I gave so much, why don't I get back?
Yeah.
And it makes me think that people give to try to get back, or they just give because they're nice people. So I just started going, mate, stop blaming every other boss. And I put myself in every single situation in my whole life, whether it be the marriages or whether it be the divorce settlements or whether it be, mate, the value of a man is I've never thrown a punch in my life in anger. So I watch all these guys you're talking to on your show and I'm thinking, shit, they're all fucking punch drunk. Until I get in there, Richard might try to throw one at me. I say to my son all the time, I said the value of me as a person is that I've never thrown a punch in anger in my life, and I've never been that person to get picked on to have to throw a punch, or no one's ever pissed me off enough and thrown a punch at me. So, and then my son's answer, I seen you throw a punch on the football field, Dad. I said, that's not life, mate.
That's when everyone held the bloke and I just
exactly.
just went back and held for leather.
Mate, in about 90s, when Joey got clipped by the Goddard. Goddard, Joey. So I'd come around the back of the scrum and I'm looking for someone just to punch. And as I come in, because I had a fight with Tim Brasher in the first one.
Yeah.
He'd been 95 and he smacked me. So as I come around, I just walked up and went, Chiefer. I grabbed him and he looked down and goes, don't be stupid, son. And I got a little bit cranky because he called me son.
Yeah.
And I went, I'll fucking hit you, Chief. He goes, no, you won't. Right? And then he pushed me out and I'm going, I would have.
Yeah. I was thinking it.
No freak away, I'd hit him.
Oh, mate.
I think the next tap I ran through the line and tried to knock his head off and he gave me the big point. I lived across the road from him.
Yeah.
His wife might have come back, my wife. So, mate, I'd like to just say that the way my life's, I've just grown into something that I just got to understand and respect the fact that I can't have same control over what I used to have.
Yep.
And there ain't going to be a result every freaking day or every weekend.
Yeah.
I've got to learn to live with that and make the best of life as well I can. My kids are superstars in sport, and my plus one out there is a superstar with a voice, and my wife's great at what she does in work and a great person. So my life just revolves around them. Yeah. And if they keep me happy,
bring you to that rich life, man.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Man.
Yeah, love it.
Mate, it's been a Queensland fucking hard nut, and I love Queensland. I love your story, and I'm honoured to get you on the Rich Life Projects. I want to thank you for your time, brother. It's been a fucking good chat.
Well, we've been friends for a long time.
I know, 100%.
Never sat down. You might not invite me for a beer now and get the rest of the stories.
100%.
All the Origin ones are better.
Offline, yeah.
The Origin ones are better.
Appreciate your time, champion, being on the L show.